beautiful Flagstaff, Arizona, home of the 2023 PDGA Masters Disc Golf World Championships. A PDGA Major featuring nearly 900 players across multiple divisions. We're at Little America, the long course, for back nine coverage of round one. Grant Zellner alongside philosopher Brathwaite.
Thank you so much, Grant. Nice to be back with you.
Our featured card here on day number one, 4,000 plus rated players. You might have heard of some of these guys. Joe Rovere, defending champion. Dave Feldberg in the mix. Here's who they're chasing as they enter the back half of their opening round. Three guys already in the clubhouse, having posted 10 under par rounds, and we are at the 10th. A long par 3 downhill, 426 feet.
Once again, this finishes to the right. So tricky at 420 some odd feet, even with the downhill grade, to get something to swing to the right at the end if you're playing the main fairway down the middle here. Very challenging tee shot. Tony Ferro unfortunately catches first available on the right side, shoots him left. Overturn there from Feldberg, also going to touch ground a little early.
There's a little bit of a ravine down there toward the hole. Martin, though, looking for a magic window.
You got sneaky?
Seems like he did get sneaky indeed there, Grant.
And Joe Rovere really cranking on this hyzer flip.
Yeah, didn't crank it hard enough. Unfortunately, this thing's headed off to the left for Mr. Rovere.
Back to Ferro. This is touchy.
Long ways to the target for Tony Ferro. See if he can scrape that putt up there and get his par on. Feldberg, very long birdie attempt. I don't think he's too thrilled with that.
Jumper from Martin Hendel.
Yeah, that dried up just a hair short. Was tracking nicely. Tony Ferro, can he salvage par? Oh, disgusting. Heavy chain out there for Tony Ferro to scrape up yet another fantastic par. Feldberg has a little meat left on the bone. That approach drying up right around circle's edge. There goes that flag again. Surfs the band for Feldberg. Unfortunate there. Had to march on over there and try to pop that in for bogey. That's a nice tourniquet putt there from David Feldberg. Easily could have turned into a double bogey had he lost the focus on the putting green.
The 10th plate is the third most difficult hole related to par in round number one. Every single hole on the course, though, was birdieable.
From what I've seen so far today, they do look birdieable. Not easy, but gettable.
Woohoo!
Little nubber laying there for Martin Hendel to sneak in over the rim.
Short walk to the tee at the 11th. We're going back up the hill, 570 feet, a dog leg to the left for this par 4.
Probably prefer to fly. Try to cast that thing as wide as you can. Play it to the widest part of the fairway and then take the straight shot up the chute to the target.
Little right of where he wanted it, but that should be just fine. Now to Joe Rovere going up.
Yeah, Joe's been throwing some aggressive lines. That par 4 he had a jump putt on earlier in the round, and now he's put another monster up the fairway.
That disc finished well off to the left of this vantage point. He's playing a different hole than the other guys.
Tony Ferro yet again, another late tree kick. Feldberg going to try to recover with a birdie after bogey here.
Tasty.
Looks like a really nice looking shot there from Feldberg. Should have a pretty straightforward approach into the green. Martin Hendel's second shot.
Oh, that's clean.
The touch, just so spot on from Martin Hendel.
Little backbreaker there for Tony.
Hoping that thing gets a little late fade, and looks like that dried up a hair short for Tony Ferro. Feldberg doing a little bump and run into the green, make sure he secures the birdie.
And that's Joe Rovere from somewhere in New Mexico.
Drops that on the green. That should count for a birdie as well. Well, the lines have been good for Tony Ferro, just a little bit off on the up and down. Joe Rovere pops that in for a birdie.
I don't know that these players follow their scores much during the round. I do know that at least Steve Rico was done at 10 under par when this foursome teed off, so they probably were aware of the hot round of the day, at least to that point.
I can guarantee you one guy for sure was paying attention. Any guess as to who that might be?
Sure, yeah. The one leading the way to 12T right now.
Correct, yeah. He's got a knack for letting you know where the whole field stands before you tee off if you're on the feature card. So I'm sure everybody knew there's 3 10-packs out there waiting to get chased down. Hole number 12 looks like another shorty but funny. Fun shot there, 246 feet. Looks like it's playing slightly uphill. And there you go. Those rocks in the way could send you heading the wrong direction or just chew up your disc really badly.
You can elect the wide hyzer here, or you can go up a narrower but more straightforward gap.
Martin Hendel navigated that beautifully. Joe Rovere looking for a little bump and run of his own. All right, not out of range for Joe. A little shy, but right in the neighborhood. Feldberg adds a little more height to it. Probably saw the shot there from Joe Rovere. There you go, correction made. Sometimes it helps to see what somebody else is doing. Tony Ferro follows the vapor trail.
A little wide.
Another tree kick, huh? Sends it a little long.
Joe Rovere showing that experience from the mountains. He's used to putts like this.
Absolutely. Solid putt there from Joe from right around circle's edge. Tony Ferro scraping up par.
Still in red figures is Tony Ferro.
A little bit more volatile round for Tony Ferro than the rest of the competitors. He's been seeming to find a lot of early and late trees, a couple of bogeys. Trying to fight through the adversity here on an opening round. Martin Hendel with his little classic turnover putt sends that one home.
That long pause before he explodes toward the basket, a good lesson for those watching. Explode on your putts.
Imagine, your favorite disc is unreachable. How will you recover? Have no fear. Introducing the ARM Augmented Reaching Mechanism. Providing players with over 21 feet of reach, users will face no challenge retrieving trap discs in nearly any scenario. For further flexibility, the arm comes with 2 grabbing devices, the pivotable rectangle and the double claw. Go to your local retailer and ask for the arm today.
To the 13th, 620 feet, a pretty open par 4, at least compared to what we've been seeing thus far in this round.
Yeah, these guys are licking their chops on a hole like this. Not a whole lot in the way. Should be able to put out a pretty solid 400 plus foot drive and a little chip shot into the green, earn yourself another birdie. Unless if you do that.
Joe Rovere getting a little vocal here is Joe Rovere. Look at this.
Yeah, that's full send there from Joe Rovere. Well up the fairway. Feldberg can still put a move on a disc too.
Everyone getting a chance to really let one rip here. And Philo, this is the stretch of the round where players of this caliber need to make progress. The 11th, 12th, here the 13th, and the 16th. Basically the 4 easiest holes relative to par on the course.
I'm sure they all know that as well. They know that this is the section of the course they got to come to life, play strong, play smart, earn good birdies, don't give any back. Unfortunate there for Martin Hendel, catch an early tree, gonna have a long way to cover that up. Looks like he's done all right.
Little standstill from David Feldberg here.
I imagine that's all you need for about a 200-foot approach shot. Less moving parts, more accuracy. Tony Ferro going to the sidearm play. He sails that one a little long. Maybe obstructed there with that down tree.
Another sidearm. It's like seeing a unicorn.
It kind of is in the Masters division. We get to see some Matt Blakely later on in the tournament, and you'll be seeing a bunch from that guy. He's got a ripping sidearm.
Everybody with their own unique way of doing things. Yesterday, Philo, I met a player in another division. He sidearms every putt from outside about 20 feet.
Never heard of that before.
Neither had I, and he is fantastic at it.
Hey, you practice anything long enough, you're bound to get good at it, right? Martin Hendel scraping up his par, I believe that was. It should be a tap-in birdie for Feldberg, getting him to 6 under par on the day.
Yeah, Feldberg seemed a little bit off, honestly, through part of the front 9, then took that bogey at the 10th. He's come back with a turkey, 11, 12, and 13, all birdies for Feldberg.
Joe Rovere, after that bomb of a drive of his own, a little chip shot up into the green, a little tap in for birdie, gets him to 7 under par. Knotted up with Martin Hendel for honors on the box. Low score.
So the 14, 341 feet. Relatively flat par 3. Once again, we're bending a bit from the left to the right.
Yeah, this is all about disc selection. Obviously, 340 feet, not the longest to play. Probably going to want something kind of naturally understable and just kind of let the disc drag itself to the right. Looks like that touched down a hair early there for Joe Rovere. Lengthy putt coming up. See those bushes jostling in the background.
This is one of the more exposed areas on this disc golf course.
There you go. Looks like Feldberg got a little bump and run into the green. Martin Hendel safely onto the green as well.
Power forehand.
Oh, that was a smooth forehand there from Tony Ferro. Nice little baby flexor. There you go. Gets him into the neighborhood. Tailwind putt for Tony Ferro.
And you can hear the wind here at the 14th.
Just barely not enough want there from Joe Rovere. One more pound of pressure, and he might have got that one to go home. Martin Hendel got the wind swirling around there, trying to figure it out.
Shane's out on the downwind side, and Ferro needs this.
That's a solid make there for Tony Ferro. Been a bit of a struggle for him, but starting to come alive here, collecting some birdies.
Woo-hoo-hoo!
Yeah, he snapped that one in there. That had about 35% more pace than a normal Martin Hendel putt.
David Feldberg adds to the birdie streak.
Yes, he does.
15, 375 feet along par 3. Can go through these 4 trees or around to the left and then down to the right.
That was a nice shot there from Feldberg. Looks like he's right inside circle 1.
Ferro going a little lower. Disc lifts at the end and goes well up and over the tower.
Yep, there's gravity for you once again, showing up. A little bit of wind, a little bit of thin air. Disc doesn't want to come down.
Oh, wow.
What a run there from Joe Rovere.
It's difficult to get a disc to hold that ante that long, especially at altitude.
Got to have the right disc for that type of a shot. Martin Hendel also sailing off to the left. Didn't turn it over enough. Here he is, from probably still in the fairway. Valiant effort there from Martin Hendel, but it's going to come up short. Left side miss there for Tony Ferro. Should be close enough for a par. Joe Rovere. Wow, what a putt.
Once again, showing off that knack for mountain disc golf is Joe Rovere.
I don't think you get to hang on to a 1032 rating unless if you're making putts like that on the regular, Grant. Honestly,
No doubt
you
about
got to
it.
be able to convert some of those 35, 40 footers. He's had about 2 or 3 already this round. A mark of a 1030 player, honestly. Got to have those 35, 40 footers dropping at least 30% on your round.
Two at 8, 1 at 7.
Hi, I'm Innova Team Captain Nate Sexton. Welcome to our instructional disc golf series. Maybe even bank over to the right, and that's going to give the putt loft. Slight flex line, so you'll see this come out a little bit higher to give you a variety of different shot shapes. The farthest away player should go first towards the basket.
16th, a sub 600 foot par 4, the easiest hole relative to par on the day, playing a half stroke under par.
Well, you can totally see the shot shape required here. It looks like it's playing a little downhill, so you're going to get that in your favor. A little bit of left to right wind should also help you make that shot shape. There it is. Is that going to get stable in time enough for Feldberg? Hearing some claps, that must have been a pretty solid shot. Joe Rovere looking to follow.
Smoked.
Like he's in business as well. Yeah, he's getting a hold of these drives, that's for sure. Tony Ferro, can he match and stay clean? There we go. Finally a full flight shot there for Tony Ferro.
This one up in the wind.
Yeah, he didn't have as aggressive as a action to make that disc turn over as the previous three competitors, and this one's definitely going to sail off to the left a bit there for Martin Hendel. See if he can cover it up with a solid second shot here. Such a classic disc golf swing Martin Hendel has.
Haven't given Tony Ferro enough credit, all the way from Switzerland here at this World Championships.
No doubt. Had a nice little chat about that with Tony Ferro. Got the nod from family back home. Come on out and get yourself some disc golf fun in for a little while. Seen a bunch of them this year throughout the Disc Golf Pro Tour and both of the age-protected majors so far this year.
Martin Hendel off the mark, and compared to the top of this MP40 field, taking a par here at the 16th, probably losing ground.
Yeah, you'd imagine so. Just under 600 feet. Really got to make good on a hole like this. Pretty open too. Obviously the wind can play some tricks with you, but got to be able to get the disc within 200 feet and get up and down. So necessary.
David Feldberg, by the way, that was another birdie in the row after the bogey at the 10th. All birdies for Feldberg.
He's rolling now. See if he can finish it up. He's still got to card another birdie to match the hot rounds from earlier. Same for Joe Rovere.
If nobody makes it to 10 under par, there'll be a multi-way tie at 9 down. We'll have to break that to see who's in our featured card for round 2. Meanwhile, the 17th, exactly 300 feet.
Gotta love that bush protecting the basket too, so no straight up ace runs. Gonna have to be cheeky with this one. Feldberg adding a little texture to this flex shot, trying to bring it in stage right. There you go. Not bad looking play there. Maybe a little bit of a obstacle in his way with that bush.
Oh, Joe Rovere, tree kick.
Yeah, big kick in the wrong direction as well. Outside chance for Joe to sling one in.
With a field of this size, Tony Ferro would like to get 1 or even 2 more.
He's just given himself an opportunity with that drive. Looks like he's still inside circle 1.
And Martin Hendel scatters the chips to Joe Rovere.
He started to walk that one in, didn't he, Grant?
Yeah, he liked it. Hendel.
Buzzing the tower on the high left side there for Martin Hendel. Par coming up, most likely. Tony Ferro never gave it a chance. Feldberg, the heat is off. After carding a bunch of birdies, I believe that was back-to-back hat tricks for Feldberg, walking away with a par at 17, and you can see how frustrated he is with that. Those are too close to miss. Joe Rovere left the door open for Feldberg to overtake him with the low score, and unable to get it to go. Martin Hendel trying to scrape up his par, I believe. Yes, par for Martin Hendel.
Looks to be a par frame for everybody here on our featured card for day number 1.
That's got to be frustrating on a 300-foot hole.
Good news and bad news for players like Tony Ferro. The bad news is, with a field of this size, you may find yourself 60th, 70th, 80th, despite an under par round. The good news, with every stroke gained, you're jumping 12, sometimes 15 players.
True story, man. The fight is never over. We've seen a bunch of guys come back from 5, 6, 7, 8 strokes off the pace and make things competitive once again. So it's not over for Tony Ferro. And if you're a fan of his game or familiar at all, Tony's a gamer. He can turn it on in a heartbeat and get super hot. So look for Tony to bounce back throughout the rest of this week.
Big finish here. 1,093 feet. A par 5 that averaged over par for the division.
That's a Disc Golf Pro Tour length par 5 right there, 1,093 feet. A lot of ground to cover. Typically on a par 5, you can make one small mistake and still score. See how difficult this fairway and hole is as a whole.
I like that. The hole is a hole.
So far, it looks pretty fair. It looks like they've got some space to let loose. It looks like he's a little off the fairway. Martin Hendel.
Here toward the end of the round, Martin struggled to turn that drive over. Made the correction.
Indeed, he did. Fairway central for Martin Hendel.
Delicate little run up there for David Feldberg. Rough ground.
Even so, yeah, still able to get a pretty solid pop on that disc. Joe Rovere also going standstill, letting one fly. Looks like he's found himself a little open space there.
Martin Hendel, that's 2 in a row he's managed to turn over the way he likes to.
Looks like he's in that same neighborhood as Joe Rovere finished up. Oh, maybe even a little kick out there from the tree. All right. Tony Ferro giving this a rip. There you go. Getting past all the other fellows on the card so far. Looking good. Feldberg.
Way up. Definitely a little short there. Quickly to Joe Rovere.
Lightning fast from the standstill from Joe Rovere. Looks like he's right up on the green now. Martin Hendel firing for the green.
These guys are going to be using the icy hot on the backs tonight, no doubt about it, after all of these standstills. A lot of torque.
Lots of torque, a lot of pressure on those joints and ligaments. Tony Ferro fires one into the green, looking good. David Feldberg. There you go, right up on the basket. This should be a birdie putt for Joe Rovere, if I'm not mistaken. He sails that one a little bit long. Tony Ferro to finish his day with a birdie.
Got it. Is. Jumps Tony into the top 50.
He'll be back. Or at least close. I have a feeling he can bounce back. Martin Hendel also trying to close out his round with a birdie 4 on the par 5. Unfortunate there for Martin Hendel. Chain out on the left side. A par for Feldberg to finish up his day. For my guesstimation, we will probably see him back on this feature card for round 2. Same for Joe Rovere.
Think you'll see me tomorrow.
And a par for Martin Hendel.
This foursome will head to Thorpe Park tomorrow. And David Feldberg, in a multi-way tie for 4th, gets the nod. Thanks to that low PDGA number, he will be on featured card coverage in round number 2.
Ooh-wee, look at that card for round 2. Steve Rico trying to get that ever-elusive world title here as a Masters player. Michael Johansson, Cale LaVisca just had the Tim Selinsky slip through his fingers. Sorry, bud. Dave Feldberg. It's going to be a fun watch. Hope you guys bring it on back.